Hello, and thanks for stamping with me today. I've got a really fun fold card called a Cascade card to show you how to make. Now, these have been around for a while, and I thought they were beautiful, but I was a little bit intimidated by them, which is kind of unusual because I usually just tackle everything. So I made this card for my next Technique Tuesday class. And also, I found at the end that it needed a bigger envelope, so I used the Polka Dot Parade and made a matching envelope. Okay, let's get started. The first thing you're going to do is take your cardstock and you're going to cut it at 6 by 8, and you need 2 pieces. So I've got 2 pieces of Whisper White here, 6 by 8. And then what I found I needed to measure up on the sides of my cardstock so that it would be at 3 inches. I'm just going to push my grid paper in here. This grid paper is available for sale to anybody, customers, and I use it all the time for measuring. So I needed a measurement on one side of my 2 pieces at 3 inches. So I'm just going to mark that with a pencil. I've got a little pencil mark here. And then we're going to cut it. Let me move some stuff out of the way here. Oops, sorry, I'm bumping you all over the place. You're going to take it and put it in your paper cutter. And I've got my little mark right here on the edge of the blade. And then I want to line up the very corner of my 2 pieces of cardstock. And you can cut these separately, but I'm doing them together so that they're both exactly the same size. And then this is what we have. Okay. The next thing we need to do is put this in our Simply Scored. And you're going to score it, each piece separately, at 2, 4, and 6. I'm going to go 2, 4, 6. Bring this one in and do the same thing. Okay, get that out of the way for you. Now, as I was watching videos and tutorials on how to make the Cascade card, it got to this point that was all pretty simple and easy, but now it got a little complicated. And those people that were demonstrating would say, okay, now here's where it gets a little sticky. So I decided to put my big girl panties on and figure out how to do this very easily. And here's what I came up with. In order to get the Cascade, let me show you my little sample. This was my first little run around with it. In order to get this Cascade, it all just goes together like this. So you've got your piece and you have to slit it here and at the top of these 2 pieces. And then your next one, you're going to slit at the bottom of those 2 scores. Don't slit the score in the middle. We didn't need that one. I made a boo-boo there. But like I said, this was my practice run. And then I came up with a whole different idea. So this one we need to cut from the top down to about the middle on the 2 outside scores, not the inside one. And people were measuring and going, okay, you need to have this very precise. And I'm like, oh, blah, blah, blah. So I just grabbed the bull by the horns and decided I was going to do it my own way and try to make this really easy. So there's our first piece, okay? And then in comes our second piece, and we cut from the top down here. We're going to cut from the bottom up here on the outside score lines. And I'm just kind of cutting up to about the middle. Once we put it together, we'll see, do we need it to be cut a little bit further? If so, we can just use our scissors again. It's not a big issue. So now we're going to fold on these score lines. And this is what you end up with. And then we're going to do the opposite to the other side. So here you go. Here's our 2 pieces for our Cascade card. Now, how do we put it together? Well, you're going to take both your pieces like this, and we're going to slide this one in here. And once you get this part made, you're going to see this very easily. See how that went in there? Just like that, okay? There we go. And now you're going to grab these 2 cut lines, and we're going to put those in there. Okay, so this is what you have. And then, oops, I think I forgot to fold on this middle one. That's it right there. Want to see me do it again? Okay, watch carefully. Okay, you've got your two pieces. You're going to put this slit in here and this slit in here, just like that, okay? And then pull your two middle score lines out. Boom. Super, super simple. I was so excited when I came up with this easy way to do it. There's no measuring for cutting those lines. That's just too complicated. I don't want my ladies to have to figure that out at home. They're going to go, oh, this is a nice card, Kelly, but I'm never making it again. So there we have it. Now, what I did as I was trying to figure out how to make an absolutely fun and beautiful summer card is I took my gumball green and my stamp, which is from the Summer Silhouettes. I just chose a leaf stamp from any stamp set, and I wanted to have some leaves in here. So I'm going to open this up, and I just need a little color on this front piece. So I'm just going to kind of put a few little leaves in here to give it some color. Now I'm going to turn it to the other front panel and do a few more leaves here, because I just thought it was a little bit too stark white. Okay, so I've got my leaves on my front panel. Okay, you got to let that dry a little bit. I am using Whisper White, which is the most beautiful white cardstock, but it does take just a tiny bit of drying time. And then on my sample card, I decided I needed maybe a little bit more green up here. So again, I'm just going to hold my card here, put a little bit of green in here, just for fun. I didn't do that on my sample, but I decided right now that it needs it, because as stampers, we can change our mind, right? Here's a little bit more leaves. There we go. And I think I'm done with that now. You could leaf up the whole thing if you wanted to. Okay, so here's my base card. Then I took the label framelets, whoops, sorry about that, and I used not the smallest one that's in the set, but the next three for this card. So this is the number 2 bigger size and the number 3. I've got Daffodil Delight, Bermuda Bay. I put a little bow on there using the Real Red stitched ribbon. And I love this mono glue. I use it all the time. I rarely use tape runners or the snail anymore. Okay, now before you put this piece on, you want to put your card like this and make sure that everything is in place, because this is going to glue your card together. You don't want it all kind of kitty-wampus like that. There's a word. Okay, so I've got it all put together very nicely. And now we're going to set this. I see I've got a little problem here. There we go. We're going to put this right in the middle. And that's going to basically hold your card together now. Okay, so there's our front so far. And then I stamped and punched a bunch of the flowers from the Flower Shop set. And I also stamped up some little butterflies from Papillon Potpourri. Somebody actually emailed me and told me how to say that properly, so thank you, I appreciate that. And then I wanted to let you know a little something about this Flower Shop and the matching punch. So let's stop there for a second. What I found is when I was just stamping these all over the place, when you go to bring your punch in to punch them, you have a really hard time getting it lined up properly. So what I did is I sat down and figured out which way this punch is going to slide in there to punch this flower out just right. And I put an X by it. So I know that this needs to be facing me or towards the edge of the paper when I go to punch it. And it comes in here just perfectly every time versus going like this and trying to figure it out. So there's a huge, huge tip for you on this punch with these flowers. Put an X on your block or an X on your image if you get the clear sets, so that you know which way you have to stamp that, so you don't have to get frustrated trying to punch it out. Okay, so back to our card. Then I wanted to show you how I put this together, because I thought, well, you know what, this might be just a little tricky too, but it's really not if you follow these simple instructions. So I took my glue, and I put a little glue on the bottom of my flower, and I kept my card laying right here like this. And then I just brought my flowers in like that. Okay, so you're going to just keep gluing flowers in. Again, little glue on the bottom of the petals here. We don't want it sticking over the top. So our bird, my two-step bird. Okay, and here's where my audio got a little goofy on this particular video. So I'm doing a voiceover now. I used my two-step bird builder punch to put some little leaves into my white spaces. And you're just going to put a little glue on them and tuck them right in there. And just kind of fill up whatever you might need. Now the back of my card looks really plain, so I'm going to decorate that, and that's where you can write on it. I use the label framelits, and remember, I didn't use the smallest one. I used the number 2 and number 3 from there on the front, and then number 3 and number 4 on the back. So stamp your greeting. I put a little butterfly on there. Now I'm going to attach some glue, and you want to make sure that you hold your card up and make sure it's even, because it'll move around on the back until you get it secured. I'm just going to try to get it in position here. And there we go. I'm going to hold that in place just a little bit till my glue starts to stick. And there you have the back of your card. Now I decided that it was a little plain. So I'm going to be really brave and come in with some more gumball green leaves and just kind of stamp them around the edges. This will help fill up that white space and make your back of your card look as decorated as the front. So there you have it. This is really a pretty easy card once you get the base down. And as you can see, with my directions, it was pretty simple. Once I got my card done, it didn't fit in a standard size envelope. So I decided to make an envelope of my own, and I'll share that very soon in another video for you. I will, however, have the template for making the envelope on my blog at astampabove.typepad.com. So jump on over there and check that out, and you can make your own envelope. I use the Party Parade Designer Series paper for my envelope, so it would match the orange flowers on my card. Thanks so much for stamping with me. This has been fun.